It's been a really long time since I've discussed this topic ad nauseum. And if you guys don't know what I'm referencing, I uploaded a video quite a few months ago. I'd say about 2-3 months ago, which is honestly probably one of the most viewed videos I've ever put on my channel. And it focused around the latest update at the time. It's a Star Wars Battlefront 2, which was an update directed towards heroes versus villains. Now, for those of you who don't know exactly what the contents of this update was, it was essentially getting rid of the target system in heroes versus villains and turning it into more of a team deathmatch mode. I didn't think they were actually going to go about changing the mode entirely. I thought they were going to add the new mode to the game instead of changing what really wasn't that broken to begin with, in my opinion. I think there were issues around the game that made the mode not as fun as it could have been. But all in all, I was very against the update for heroes versus villains. I went on a whole fucking 7.5 minute rant to it. Like I said, it's one of the most viewed videos on my channel. Surprisingly enough, more often than not, people agreed with the contents of what I said. I've had people that have reached out to me in the comments and have said to me, I haven't touched this game mode since the update. That's how unfun, I should say, it is. And at that point, I was getting so many of the same comments that I just kind of stopped replying. And if you left me a comment, it's not that I didn't want to reply, it's just that at that point, I had already talked about it ad nauseum with other people in the comments. I felt like if I had just said the exact same thing in a different comment, it wouldn't have meant as much, because it is what it is, you know? How many different ways am I going to say the same thing? This game mode is officially not what it used to be. And since that update, there have been a few more updates in addition to that focus on improvements to the mode. I'm here to give my thoughts on those, and then we're going to see where I stand with heroes versus villains at the end of this video. So, one of some of my biggest problems with the heroes versus villains update was, and I'm not sure if I mentioned this in the initial video, and by the way, if you do want to watch that video, I'll leave it down in the description as well as in the annotation above, so you can have access to what I had said prior. One of my other biggest problems that I'm not sure if I mentioned is that you were always seen on the minimap. Like, no matter what, where you were on the map, you were seen by the enemy, and you could see the enemy. I found that to be incredibly, I don't think it was fair, for lack of better terms. I don't think it was a very fair thing to put into the game. They have since changed that. Game modes, the game mode itself lasts a little longer. I think it's like 35 or 50 kills or some shit like that. Basically, they extended the time period of the game from how many times people can kill, or how many heroes or villains you can kill in the match, hence team deathmatch and all that shit. So, you know, that's an improvement, because there were games that lasted way too goddamn short. I still think, depending on the team balancing provided in the game is still very much a 5 to 7 minute match, depending on how stupid your teammates are. And that's another problem I still have with the game. That's still something that has yet to ever have been touched or changed in Star Wars Battlefront 2. They were so quick, and one of my biggest problems was they were so quick to change what made this mode unique from the last iteration that we saw, which was, you know, essentially what this is in the first Battlefront, in EA Battlefront in 2015. There was nothing really that stood out to the average player. This, when the target system was, you know, announced and people played it, it seemed like a fun mode. It had some sort of strategy to it, and the only thing that was holding it back was how shitty the actual players were, which there were a lot of them, and I feel like the matchmaking in the game was the game mode's biggest enemy. Someone actually pointed that out to me, that my problem wasn't with the mode itself, that the game mode, that the team balancing was a big problem. And that's half true, half not true. I still think the target system was needed to prevent it from being a repetitive version of a repetitive mode, such as, you know, Blast. It's essentially Blast with heroes, and that's not really fun. In addition to that, and this is now more prevalent than ever, and you can tell by this game mode, I actually had to cut like an entire 2.5 minutes out of this game mode because I just kept getting my ass kicked, is that laser heroes or villains that use like a blaster are completely useless in this game mode. They do not fare well. In the target system, I had a better shot, I feel. And I knew what I was doing. Like, this is nothing but chaos. The problem with the mode is that it's nothing more than chaos now, where in the target system, it was more or less controlled. Yeah, they made some improvements here and there, but I said this before, this mode is no longer unique to anyone. And I have barely touched it other than this gameplay here, and maybe like 1 or 2 times before that. Like, I used to really grind the daily challenges in Star Wars Battlefront 2. Like, oh, play 5 games of heroes versus villains. Oh, defeat 10 lightsaber heroes or some shit. I used to actually enjoy doing that. I don't enjoy doing that anymore. And because the game mode itself is not fun for me to play anymore. So what used to be a fun time with heroes versus villains has just been diminished, in my opinion. And I've used that lacking that I got from the change in this mode in playing other modes. Like, I get more enjoyment out of playing like an hour-and-a-half game of Capital Supremacy than anything. So that's where I stand on heroes versus villains. You know, it got better to an extent, but it's not where it should be. It's just not fun to play anymore. The whole chaos aspect of it is really not fun to play. The spawns are shit. They have always been shit, to be honest with you, but the spawns are pretty shit still. And, you know, there are people that are going to disagree with me. I'm aware of that, but I honestly feel like if this is your type of mode that you want to sit and play for God knows how many hours of the day, that's up to you, bro. I don't really give a fuck what you do in your personal time, but to be honest, in my opinion, I can't play this shit anymore. It got better, but it doesn't have that fun factor anymore to me, and that uniqueness that it had. It's just it's just a hero's version of fucking Blast, and I don't enjoy that, even though I got second place here, surprisingly. Anyway, guys, this is Ed0626 revisiting the Heroes vs. Villains update from several months ago. Let me know what you think down in the comments section below. I'll catch you all in the next one.